Before Rajab quietly slips away, pause for a moment and listen carefully. Not every reminder arrives loudly. Some arrive softly, because they are meant to reach the heart, not the ears. Rajab is not just another page on the calendar. It is a warning wrapped in mercy, a pause before acceleration, a preparation before transformation. And if you are watching this right now, it is not accidental. This message reached you because something inside you is still alive, still listening, still hoping. Stay with me until the end, because what you do before Rajab ends shapes everything that comes after. Rajab does not arrive to impress you, and it does not come to overwhelm you with rules or expectations. It arrives quietly, almost unnoticed, as if it is testing whether your heart is still awake enough to feel it. Many months pass loudly, filled with plans, goals, and distractions, but Rajab passes softly because its purpose is not the calendar. It is the condition of the heart. Rajab is not asking how much you have done. It is asking whether you are still aware of what you are becoming. It is not measuring productivity, visibility, or outward success. It is measuring sincerity, awareness, and readiness. Some people feel nothing in Rajab, and that itself is a sign. Others feel a strange heaviness, a quiet restlessness, a feeling that something needs attention but they cannot explain what. That feeling is not weakness. That feeling is the heart being gently shaken awake after long neglect. Rajab does not demand dramatic change. It does not pressure you to transform overnight. Instead, it asks you to slow down enough to notice where your soul is standing. Are you moving forward without intention, or are you intentionally walking towards something better? If worship has started to feel routine, if motivation rises and falls, if distractions have grown louder than reflection, Rajab is not here to shame you. Rajab comes to interrupt autopilot mode. It comes to remind you that faith is not sustained by emotion alone, but by awareness and honesty. This month teaches that readiness matters more than speed. A heart that is rushing without direction will burn out, but a heart that prepares slowly will endure. Rajab is the pause before acceleration, the breath before effort, the moment where the soul is invited to realign before the weight of greater responsibility arrives. You may feel behind. You may feel inconsistent. You may feel like you missed too much already. Rajab does not reject you for that. Rajab exists precisely because hearts drift, weaken, and forget. This month is not asking you to become perfect. It is asking you to become present, because only a present heart can be prepared, and only a prepared heart can truly change. And if you are listening to this now, while Rajab is still here, understand this clearly. Your awareness at this moment is not accidental. This is readiness beginning, quietly, gently, without noise. Nothing meaningful in life happens suddenly, even when it looks sudden from the outside. Every strong transformation is prepared quietly, patiently, and often invisibly. Rajab exists to teach this truth to the heart before the body is asked to act. This month does not bring pressure, because pressure produces performance, not sincerity. Rajab brings awareness, because awareness produces lasting change. It slows the rhythm of life just enough for you to notice what has been neglected beneath the surface. Look closely at how wisdom works. Seeds are not planted on the day of harvest. Muscles are not built on the day of competition. Hearts are not purified on the first night of Ramadan. Rajab comes first because preparation always comes before elevation. It comes before Shaban, where consistency is trained. And it comes before Ramadan, where everything hidden is magnified. If Ramadan arrived without Rajab, many hearts would break under its weight. Because worship without preparation feels heavy, but worship built on readiness feels natural. Rajab gently aligns intention before action is demanded. This month teaches you to fix the inside before fixing the schedule, to repair intention before increasing quantity, to ask why you are doing what you do, not just how much you are doing. Many people want instant spiritual highs, but Rajab teaches spiritual stability. High emotion fades, but alignment lasts. Energy disappears, but intention remains. And Rajab is the month where intention is quietly repaired. There is a verse that reminds us that lasting change does not begin externally but internally. It teaches that a people are not transformed until what is within them is transformed first. Rajab is where that internal work begins, long before anyone sees the result. This is why Rajab feels different to those who are attentive. It does not excite the body, but it awakens the conscience. It does not overwhelm the routine, but it questions the direction. If your heart feels unusually reflective during this month, that is not coincidence. If old habits feel uncomfortable, that is not random. If distractions suddenly feel empty, that is not boredom. That is readiness being formed. Rajab prepares the heart to receive what is coming without being crushed by it. It teaches the soul to walk before it is asked to run, and it trains sincerity quietly, so that when greater effort arrives, it does not feel forced. This month is proof that mercy comes before responsibility, guidance comes before expectation, and preparation comes before transformation. One of the greatest losses is not rejection, failure, or hardship. One of the greatest losses is missing a moment of guidance while thinking there will always be another chance. Rajab exposes this loss quietly, without shock, without fear, without noise. Many people do not reject goodness, they delay it. They assume there will be time later, energy later, motivation later. They plan to become serious in Shaban and sincere in Ramadan, forgetting that hearts do not suddenly awaken on command. Rajab reveals a dangerous illusion, the illusion that preparation can be postponed without consequence. But the heart does not work like a switch that can be flipped overnight. It works like a muscle that weakens with neglect and strengthens only with gradual care. This is why Rajab is so subtle. It does not force action, it observes response. It watches whether you move even slightly when there is no pressure pushing you. Some people wait for Ramadan because Ramadan feels powerful. It feels energetic, it feels collective. But Rajab tests something far more important than excitement. It tests sincerity when no one is watching and nothing dramatic is happening. If you cannot move your heart when the month is quiet, it will struggle when the month is intense. If you cannot protect intention now, it will be overwhelmed later. Rajab teaches that waiting for the perfect moment often results in missing the right one. There is also another subtle danger that Rajab reveals, the danger of spiritual numbness. Not anger, not rebellion, but numbness. When reminders no longer disturb the heart, when warnings no longer soften it, when opportunities pass without reaction. Rajab does not shame this state. It exposes it gently, and exposure is mercy, because you cannot heal what you refuse to notice. This month asks you to be honest with yourself in ways that are uncomfortable but necessary. Have you been postponing change because you are tired or because you are afraid of consistency? Have you been avoiding reflection because it reminds you of responsibilities you would rather ignore? Have you mistaken delay for patience and comfort for contentment? Rajab strips away excuses without confrontation. It simply stands there and waits. And in that waiting, it reveals what truly matters to you. If Rajab passes and nothing shifts, even slightly, that is not neutral. It shapes how the next months will be experienced. Because what is ignored in preparation becomes a burden later. But if Rajab moves you, even a little, that movement carries weight. A small, sincere adjustment now can protect you from exhaustion later. A quiet decision now can open doors you never expected. Rajab is proof that guidance often arrives before urgency, and those who respond early are spared from regret later. There is a group of people Rajab speaks to most clearly, and they are not always the ones who appear confident, disciplined, or spiritually strong on the outside. Rajab speaks to the ones who feel behind, the ones who carry quiet guilt, the ones who hesitate to begin because they feel unqualified to start. It speaks to the hearts that think they missed too much time already, to the souls that believe preparation is only for those who never fell. Many people assume spiritual readiness belongs to the consistent, the disciplined, the ones who never drifted far. But Rajab corrects this misunderstanding gently and without embarrassment. Rajab was never designed only for the strong. It was designed for the returning. There are people listening to this who feel a deep sense of distance, not just from worship, but from themselves. They remember a version of their heart that was softer, more present, more alive. and they wonder where it went. They want to prepare, but shame whispers that it is too late. They want to improve, but fear tells them they will fail again. Rajab does not agree with those voices. Rajab exists because hearts weaken. It exists because consistency breaks. It exists because human beings forget, fall, and drift. If perfection were required, Rajab would not be needed. If strength were constant, preparation would be unnecessary. This month exists precisely because mercy understands human limitation. Some people delay change not because they do not care, but because they care so deeply that they are afraid of doing it wrong. They are afraid of starting and stopping again. They are afraid of promising themselves something they cannot maintain. They are afraid of facing how far they have drifted. Rajab does not demand promises. It asks for honesty. It asks you to stand where you are without pretending, without exaggerating, without hiding. This month teaches that feeling unworthy does not disqualify you. In fact, it is often the beginning of sincerity. Arrogance blocks growth, but humility opens it. And humility often looks like regret, discomfort, and quiet longing to be better. If your heart feels heavy when reminders appear, that heaviness is not rejection, it is sensitivity. If your eyes lower when spiritual topics arise, that is not failure. It is awareness of responsibility. Rajab does not shame these reactions. It recognizes them as signs of life. There are hearts that are loud but empty, and there are hearts that are tired but alive. Rajab speaks to the second type. It reassures them that exhaustion does not cancel sincerity, and weakness does not erase potential. This month does not ask you to fix everything. It asks you to stop running from yourself. It asks you to stop measuring worth by comparison and start measuring honesty within. Rajab gently reminds you that returning is not a single step, but a direction. Even facing the right direction matters, even if the pace is slow. Even intention matters, even if action feels weak. Some people avoid preparation because they believe they must first feel motivated. Rajab teaches the opposite. Motivation follows movement, not the other way around. A small step taken sincerely awakens energy that waiting never will. This month gives permission to begin quietly, to begin imperfectly, to begin without announcements or expectations. Because real preparation does not need witnesses. If you have been carrying guilt, Rajab is not here to add to it. It is here to dissolve it through honest effort. Guilt that leads to return is mercy, not punishment. Rajab teaches that worth is not measured by the past, but by the direction chosen now. What matters is not how far you drifted, but whether you respond when guidance knocks gently. And guidance often knocks softly, so that only those who are sincere will hear it. If you feel hesitant to prepare, ask yourself this gently and without judgment. Is it because you do not care, or because you care so much that you are afraid to face yourself? Rajab is not intimidated by either answer. This month is a bridge, not a finish line. It does not demand arrival. It invites movement. It reminds you that no heart is too broken to be repaired, and no soul is too late to be guided. Preparation is not about proving worth. It is about accepting invitation. And if you are still listening, still reflecting, still feeling something stir inside, understand this clearly. That stirring itself is readiness forming. That discomfort itself is preparation beginning. That awareness itself is a gift. Rajab does not exclude the tired, the inconsistent, or the struggling. It exists for them. It carries them forward gently, without pressure, without judgment, and without despair. Every season leaves a trace on the heart, even when we are not paying attention. Some seasons leave strength, some leave fatigue, and some leave regret. Rajab is one of those rare seasons that does not force its mark, but allows you to choose what it will leave behind. Many people believe that major spiritual moments define the heart, but in reality, it is the quiet periods that shape it the most. Moments without urgency reveal intention more honestly than moments filled with emotion. Rajab is such a moment, calm enough to reveal truth and gentle enough to allow correction. What you do now, while there is still space to prepare, will quietly decide how the next season feels internally. Not how it looks from the outside, but how it settles within you. Because hearts do not suddenly change under pressure, they reveal what they were trained to carry. If a heart enters an intense season without preparation, it feels overwhelmed. If it enters with alignment, it feels carried. The difference is not effort alone, but readiness. Rajab teaches that readiness is not built through exhaustion. It is built through clarity. Clarity about intention, about priorities, about what truly matters and what has been stealing attention without giving anything back. This month invites you to observe yourself without judgment, to notice which habits drain you and which ones nourish you, to recognize which distractions leave you empty and which moments bring quiet peace. Many people rush toward the next season hoping it will fix what they have not addressed. Rajab gently warns that no season fixes neglect. Only awareness followed by action does. This is why Rajab is dangerous to ignore, not because something bad will happen, but because something good might never fully happen. Because opportunities that pass unnoticed rarely return in the same form. Rajab trains the heart to hold weight without breaking. It strengthens sincerity so that when effort increases, it does not feel artificial. It stabilizes intention so that worship becomes a response, not a burden. If you prepare now, even slightly, you will feel the difference later in ways you cannot predict. Moments that once felt heavy will feel lighter. Acts that once felt forced will feel natural. Discipline will feel less like resistance and more like alignment. Preparation does not announce itself with excitement. It shows itself later through ease. And Rajab is where that ease is quietly built. This month teaches you to stop negotiating with delay, to stop postponing sincerity under the illusion of more time. Because time does not prepare the heart, intentional use of time does. There is a quiet dignity in choosing growth when no one is watching, in correcting course before consequences demand it, in responding to a whisper instead of waiting for a warning. Rajab is that whisper. It reminds you that spiritual strength is not about intensity, but about stability. Not about how high you rise once, but about how steadily you walk over time. And stability is always formed before intensity, never during it. If you allow Rajab to pass untouched, the next season may feel heavy, rushed, and demanding. But if you allow Rajab to soften you now, the next season will feel like a continuation, not a shock. This month gives you a rare chance to decide consciously instead of reacting emotionally, to prepare intentionally instead of scrambling later, to arrive ready instead of arriving exhausted. Rajab does not ask for dramatic change. It asks for honest movement. And honest movement, even when small, reshapes the future quietly but permanently. If you want the next season to feel different, it must begin differently. And Rajab is where different begins without pressure. Preparation is often misunderstood because people imagine it must look impressive to be real. They imagine visible change, dramatic routines, sudden discipline, and public consistency. But Rajab teaches a different definition of preparation, one that happens privately, slowly, and almost invisibly. True preparation does not begin with adding more. It begins with removing what is unnecessary. It begins with reducing noise so the heart can hear itself again. Rajab invites you to simplify before you intensify, to clear before you build. Many hearts are not weak because they lack ability. They are weak because they are overloaded. Overloaded with distractions, expectations, comparisons, and constant stimulation. Rajab teaches that a cluttered heart cannot carry weight, no matter how sincere the intention. This month gently asks you to look at your inner life without rushing to fix it, to notice where your attention goes when you are tired, to observe what you turn to for comfort when things feel heavy, to recognize patterns that quietly pull you away from awareness. Preparation begins when you stop lying to yourself about what drains you, when you admit which habits leave you empty even though they feel familiar, when you acknowledge which routines exist out of comfort, not benefit. Rajab is the month of honest inventory, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Because understanding is the foundation of discipline, and discipline without understanding never lasts. This is the time to repair the relationship between your heart and consistency. Not by demanding perfection, but by restoring trust. Trust that you can show up again tomorrow. Trust that small effort repeated matters more than rare intensity. Many people fail later because they demand too much from themselves too soon. Rajab corrects this by teaching patience with growth. It teaches that consistency is not built through force, but through kindness combined with responsibility. Preparation also means learning to sit with discomfort without escaping it, to feel boredom without reaching for distraction, to feel guilt without collapsing into despair, to feel weakness without surrendering to it. Rajab trains emotional discipline long before physical discipline, because a heart that can tolerate discomfort can sustain effort, and a heart that always escapes discomfort will eventually escape responsibility. This month asks you to choose depth over entertainment, even briefly, to choose silence over noise, even occasionally, to choose awareness over autopilot, even when it feels uncomfortable. You may notice resistance when you attempt this, restlessness, irritation, excuses. That resistance is not failure, it is evidence of habit being challenged. Rajab teaches that resistance appears whenever growth is near, and those who mistake resistance for inability never cross the threshold. But those who recognize resistance as part of preparation move forward despite it. This is also the month to repair intention gently, to remind yourself why you want to improve in the first place, not for appearance, not for comparison, but for inner alignment and peace. Preparation is asking yourself quietly, what kind of heart do I want to carry forward? Not what image do I want to present, but what state do I want to live with? Because you cannot escape the state of your heart, no matter where you go. Rajab invites you to build a private agreement with yourself. An agreement to show up honestly, to stop abandoning yourself at the first sign of difficulty, to stop postponing growth under the excuse of fatigue. Fatigue does not excuse neglect, but Rajab also teaches that neglect is not healed by cruelty toward the self. It is healed by structured mercy. Structured mercy means choosing what is manageable and protecting it fiercely. One guarded habit, one protected moment, one daily return to awareness. Not because it feels easy, but because it feels necessary. Preparation also means learning restraint. Restraint of speech, restraint of reaction, restraint of indulgence, not as punishment, but as training. A heart that practices restraint gains strength quietly, and strength gained quietly lasts longer than strength built on excitement. Rajab is where restraint becomes voluntary rather than forced. Later seasons will demand it whether you are ready or not. Here you are given the dignity of choosing it. This month reminds you that discipline is not loss. It is protection. Protection from regret. Protection from burnout. Protection from arriving unprepared when intensity increases. Preparation also involves forgiveness. Forgiving yourself for inconsistency. Forgiving yourself for delay. Forgiving yourself for not being where you thought you would be by now. Holding on to self-resentment weakens resolve. Rajab teaches that clarity grows in an environment of honesty, not self-hatred. As Rajab moves closer to its end, the invitation becomes more urgent but never harsh. It asks whether you will leave this month unchanged internally, or whether something subtle but real will shift. Not something others will see immediately, but something you will feel. Preparation is not visible at first, but its absence is always felt later. If you take Rajab seriously now, the future will feel lighter. Not easier, but lighter. More grounded, more stable, more intentional. This month gives you the rare chance to prepare without pressure, to correct without crisis, to return without humiliation. And that is a gift many people do not recognize until it is gone. Rajab does not leave loudly. It does not announce itself. It does not warn you with urgency or remind you repeatedly that time is running out. It leaves the same way it arrived, quietly, gently, almost unnoticed by those who were not paying attention. One day you will realize that Rajab is gone, and when that realization arrives, there will be no way to return to it. No way to relive its calm, no way to reclaim its softness. Only the impact of how you responded while it was still present. This is the moment Rajab prepares you for, the moment of honest reflection. Not reflection filled with regret, but reflection filled with clarity. Because clarity, even when uncomfortable, is a form of mercy. When Rajab leaves, it does not take time with it. It takes opportunity. The opportunity to prepare without pressure. The opportunity to correct quietly. The opportunity to realign before intensity arrives. Many people only realize the value of preparation when they feel overwhelmed later. They wonder why worship feels heavy, why consistency feels exhausting, why effort feels forced. And often the answer lies not in the present struggle, but in the neglected preparation that came before it. Rajab teaches that future ease is built in present awareness, not through dramatic effort, but through honest readiness. And readiness is not loud enough to be noticed by others, but it is always felt by the heart. As Rajab ends, the heart carries one of two things forward, either awareness or neglect, either alignment or confusion, either quiet strength or hidden fatigue. This is why Rajab matters so deeply, because it does not decide outcomes immediately, it decides foundations. And foundations determine how much weight a heart can carry without breaking. There are people who will move into the next season feeling rushed, pressured, and spiritually overwhelmed. They will blame time, they will blame circumstances, they will blame fatigue, but rarely will they look back at the silent invitation they ignored when preparation was gentle. And there are others who will move forward feeling grounded, calm, and internally ready. Not perfect, not flawless, but stable. They will feel a quiet confidence that does not come from effort alone, but from alignment. The difference between these two hearts is not talent, intelligence, or strength. It is response. Response to a whisper instead of waiting for a warning. Rajab is that whisper. It asks one final question as it leaves, a question that does not demand an answer out loud, but demands an answer in direction. Did you take this month seriously enough to let it shape you internally? Not did you do more, but did you become more aware? Not did you change everything, but did you change something real? Not did others notice, but did your heart? This month was never about perfection. It was about positioning. Positioning the heart to receive what comes next without resistance. Positioning the soul to move forward without panic. Positioning intention so effort feels meaningful instead of draining. Rajab reminds you that life moves quickly, but hearts move slowly. And forcing the heart only causes it to resist. Preparation allows it to cooperate. If you feel something different inside as Rajab ends, even if you cannot name it, that matters. If you feel more aware of your distractions, that matters. If you feel more honest about your weaknesses, that matters. If you feel a quiet resolve forming without excitement, that matters. Because real change rarely announces itself with emotion. It announces itself with clarity. Rajab teaches that clarity is the most powerful form of readiness. Clarity about what drains you. Clarity about what nourishes you. Clarity about what you need to protect moving forward. As the month leaves, it does not demand a report of achievements. It leaves behind a mirror that reflects not what you showed others, but what you became inside. And what you become inside determines everything that follows. You cannot carry intensity without grounding. You cannot sustain discipline without intention. You cannot grow consistently without preparation. Rajab was your chance to ground, to align, to prepare. If you responded, even slightly, trust that it will matter later. If you struggled but did not turn away completely, trust that it still counts. If you began imperfectly but honestly, trust that honesty will carry you further than perfection ever could. The tragedy is not failing in Rajab. The tragedy is ignoring it completely. Because even failure contains movement, but neglect contains nothing. As Rajab ends, do not look back with fear. Look forward with responsibility. Carry what you gained quietly, protect it fiercely, and allow it to shape how you step into what comes next. This month was never meant to be dramatic. It was meant to be decisive, and decisions made quietly, with sincerity, shape lives more than moments filled with emotion ever will. As this reminder comes to an end, remember that Rajab does not ask you to look back with fear or regret. It asks you to move forward with awareness. What matters is not what you did perfectly, but what you noticed honestly. What matters is not how much you changed, but whether you allowed yourself to be guided. Do not underestimate what has shifted quietly inside you during this month. Small awareness changes direction. Small sincerity reshapes effort. Small preparation protects the heart from burnout later. If Rajab taught you anything, let it be this. Real change does not begin loudly. It begins when the heart becomes honest enough to listen. Carry that honesty with you, protect it from distraction, nurture it with consistency, and allow it to grow without rushing it. Ya Allah, we ask you to accept even the smallest sincerity we offered in this month. Strengthen what is weak within us, repair what we neglected, and guide our hearts gently toward what pleases you. Do not let us return to heedlessness after awareness, and do not let us forget what you reminded us of so softly. Prepare our hearts for what comes next, make our intentions firm, and allow us to move forward with calm, clarity, and trust. If this message touched your heart, stay connected, because the preparation has already begun and the journey is far from over.